Johannesburg's real deal. The sun was setting over Johannesburg, casting long shadows across the Ponty City apartments. I was fresh off the plane, full of wide-eyed wonder, heading towards the Mabanang precinct. Everyone online said it was the heart of the city's rebirth, a haven of art and cool cafes. I decided to walk from my hostel in Berea, figuring a 20-minute stroll would be a great way to see the real city. The air was warm, smelling of grilled meat and exhaust fumes. At first, the streets were bustling. People were heading home. Vendors were packing up their stalls. But as I walked further, the crowds started to thin. The vibrant murals gave way to graffiti-tagged walls and shuttered storefronts. An uneasy feeling started to creep in. Why did the friendly chatter suddenly die down? I pulled out my phone to check the map. Big mistake. A group of 3 guys who had been leaning against the car ahead suddenly straightened up. They weren't looking at me, but I felt their attention shift. My heart started hammering against my ribs. I quickly put the phone away and picked up my pace, pretending I knew exactly where I was going. They started walking too, their footsteps echoing mine, just a bit too perfectly in sync. I crossed the street. They crossed the street. There was nowhere to duck into, no open shops, no police in sight. What do you do when you realize you're being followed? One of them called out, "Hey, my friend!" Lost. His voice was friendly, but his eyes were not. I muttered, "No, I'm good," and kept walking. Faster now. They closed the distance in seconds. 2 of them flanked me, while the one who spoke walked backwards in front of me, a wide, unnerving smile on his face. "Relax, my friend. We just want to talk. We can show you a shortcut. It's not safe for tourists here." The irony was suffocating. My throat was so dry I couldn't speak. "How do you say no when you're completely boxed in?" He gestured down a narrow alley. "This way is much faster. Come." It wasn't a suggestion. My mind was screaming, "Don't go in there!" But my feet were frozen. The one behind me gave me a gentle but firm push. There was no choice. The alley was dark, smelling of urine and decay. As soon as we were out of sight of the main road, the friendly act dropped. "Okay, my friend," the leader said, his voice now flat and cold. "Phone. Wallet. Now." He didn't show a weapon, but he didn't have to. The threat was clear in their posture, in the way they surrounded me, cutting off all light and hope. Do you even think about resisting in a moment like that? I didn't hesitate. I pulled out my wallet and handed it over. I gave them my phone. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. The leader looked through the wallet, taking the cash and cards. He looked at my phone, a new model, and nodded in approval. "Good," he said. He handed the wallet back to me, empty. "Now, listen very carefully. You will walk to the end of this alley. You will not turn around. You will not run. You will not scream. You understand?" I nodded, unable to form words. The silence stretched for a heart-stopping moment. "Is this when it gets worse?" He gestured with his head. "Go!" I turned and walked, my back screaming with the imagined sensation of a hand, or worse, grabbing me. Every step was an eternity. The alley seemed to stretch on forever. I could hear them talking softly behind me, but I didn't dare turn. I just focused on putting one foot in front of the other, my breath held tight in my chest. When I finally emerged onto another street, blinking in the dim lights, a chance to look back. The alley was empty. They were gone. I was alone. Shaking, violated, but alive. I stumbled into the first brightly lit place I saw, a small convenience store, and just stood there for a minute, trying to breathe. The man behind the counter took one look at me and knew. He pointed me to a chair and brought me a bottle of water without a word. The hard lesson learned in that dark alley. Johannesburg isn't a city you explore on a whim, especially after dark. Local advice isn't a suggestion. It's a survival guide. Never walk alone in unfamiliar areas at night. Always take a registered taxi or a ride-hailing service, no matter how short the distance seems. Your naivety can be an invitation you don't want to send. My adventure cost me a phone and $100, but it could have been so much more. I saw the real Johannesburg that night. Not the one on the postcards, but the one that demands your respect and your vigilance. Visa check for tourist visits. Citizens of the United States, Canada.